G'day, Fool. Scott Phillip here from the Motley Fool, and thank you for joining us for the first in what is going to be 5 days of what we're calling Financial Literacy Week. We are going to share, hopefully, some hints and tips, some motivations and some ideas with you to try and help you get your finances either on track or back on track. Now, a lot of people are already doing this sort of stuff. There are no silver bullets here, but sometimes what you need is two things. You need the information to get going, and you need the motivation. Information and motivation, those two things are really, really important. That's what we're going to try and do over the next 5 days. At this time, 12:30 a.m. Australian Daylight Savings Time, and or maybe different wherever you're watching, but thank you for spending some time with us. In 5 half-hour blocks, we're going to share some information about getting your financial life in order, getting yourself set up, getting yourself ready, and then taking those actions that you need to take. Now, as I said, there are no silver bullets, but we'll go through some of those things that we know work for us, we know work for other people as well. Now, this is not, by the way, either an investing session. This is about financial literacy. I'll explain that in a minute, but don't think you can't do this. Every single person watching, with a couple of exceptions, can absolutely do this for themselves, take control of their financial futures. And that is specifically what this session is going to be about. Now, firstly, why are we doing this? I guess at the Motley Fool, we're an investing business, right? So I guess there's something in it for us eventually, maybe. If you take control of your finances, save some money, maybe you want to join a Motley Fool service. I guess there's part of it, sure. Most importantly, though, I think the Motley Fool is full of people who have been on this very financial journey. From the, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where to start, I don't know how to do it, through to, in my case, I'm the Chief Investment Officer here at the Motley Fool. The rest of our team, a whole lot of really high quality, high caliber people who really have, as I said, been through this themselves and want to help you get to the same place. And we're pretty lucky at the Fool, right? We get to do these sort of things. You might see me on media or hear me on media all around the place. Yes, we do it for a bit of branding, I suppose, a bit of brand recognition. We do it because we want to help people. I left a job in industry now 12 plus years ago because I wanted to join the Motley Fool and help our members, our readers, our viewers in this case, understand for themselves the power of what investing, saving, grabbing your finances and getting them together, getting them in order can really make, the impact that can really make on your financial life. And by the way, when I say your financial life, you know this, I know this, money, one of the biggest causes of relationship breakdown, one of the biggest causes of personal stress, one of the biggest challenges we have in our lives. We've all just been through a year and a half, 2 years of high inflation, right? We know that. And so, yes, this is about finance. You're here because you care. You're here because you want to know. You're here because hopefully we're going to help you answer some of these questions. And we'll do exactly that this week. But as the finances are important because of the impact they have on the rest of our lives, the choices, the opportunities, the stresses, the hassles. And hopefully we'll help you resolve some of those this week. Now, let's start from the very beginning. What exactly is financial literacy? I said I'd define my term, so let's go and do that now. Financial literacy is about, we talk about literacy and numeracy at school, right? Financial literacy is just effectively being fluent in the language of numbers, the language of finance. And again, when I say finance, it's not even really finance, it's money, right? It's the folding stuff, it's the tap and go stuff on the phone. It's, whatever it is that you use as money, that's what we're talking about. So Financial Literacy Week is kind of one of those jargon terms that we came up with because we figure it kind of describes it. What it really is about is giving you the words, the terms, the tools, the ideas, and the confidence to take control of your money. So whether that's, we'll go through a whole lot of this stuff, by the way, saving, debt, good financial habits, budgeting, all that kind of stuff. We're going to try and get you to the other end of that, knowing more than you know now, hopefully. And as I said, information and motivation, helping you understand and realize that you can do this. That's the very, very key point. If we don't finish this week, if you get all the knowledge and none of the motivation, I've failed in my job. If you get all the motivation, none of the knowledge, I've probably failed too. But what I'm really about here is giving you both parts of that equation, both parts of the formula, because that's how you go about it, right? All the information in the world not put into practice is useless. All the motivation running around in circles, but not knowing where to go, also equally useless. Combine those together, that's where the financial power really comes from. So that's what financial literacy is. My background, by the way, for anyone who said, why do I listen to this bloke? The Motley Fool's been around for 31 years now in the US. We started here at 2011, so we've been here now for 12 years, 13 years. As I mentioned, I've been with The Fool for almost exactly that long. I was a freelancer first, and then joined the team full time, almost exactly 12 years ago to the day, a couple of days ago it was. So that's who we are as a business. We're in the business of providing investment advice, financial advice. But increasingly what's happening is we're realizing that you can only use investment advice once you're in a position of being ready to and able to invest, whether that's knowing enough in one case or being prepared financially to say, well, actually, I can go and start investing my money. I can make a difference. Now, I want to talk about motivation for a second. I've used that word a few times. I will use it a few more at least in the rest of this half an hour. What we are going to do is highlight to you the why. And here's what's in it for you. I'll give you a couple of numbers just because I know numbers are hard on visual, but work with me. If you'd invested in the ASX, now this is investing, right? So I know it's not going to be about investing, but hopefully you want to take control of your finances to give yourself some financial freedom. I'll come back to that. You want to think about the why, the what's possible. So here's a really simple stat. You might have heard of the name Vanguard. They're a fund manager, and they really started the idea of index funds, ETFs you will have heard of as well. Basically being able to invest in the ASX 200 or the All Ordinaries, the key stock market indexes or indices here in Australia. You might have heard the S&P 500 in the US. If you'd invested $10,000 in the ASX 30 years ago, 10 grand, so keep 10 in your mind. 30 years later, long time, right? Feels like forever. 10 grand becomes $130,000. And you know what you had to do over that time? Nothing. All you had to do was have the money to start. Now, maybe you're saying, I haven't got 10 grand. That's okay, because I'm not even asking you to invest on one day. I'm saying let's make this a lifetime habit of taking control of your money and then helping your money work for you, because that's what investing is. You work for money, right? Money comes in. How do you make the money multiply? You get it to work for you, and that's the key. So yes, some people are starting well and truly behind the eight ball. Maybe you got a whole lot of buy now, pay later accounts. Maybe you got some credit cards, debt, a personal loan. Maybe, frankly, because the last 2 years have been really, really tough. You're just struggling to make ends meet. I'm not going to give you any silver bullets here. There is no trading platform system. I'm not selling you anything, right? I'm not going to say, all you got to do is this. Some people are sitting here watching this saying, I want to, I just can't right now. I just literally haven't got 2 cents to rub together. And if that's you, then I hope that what the next 5 days will give you is some insight, some, again, motivation, some information, so that when you get to a point where you can start putting money aside, you're ready to go. For others, you're saying, actually, yeah, I could probably do that. But if I had a bit of a sense of like I could do it, how I might do it, that it might be worthwhile, then that's when we get to the really, really important stuff. So back to that number, 10 grand became $130,000. If it's only 1 grand, that's fine. It goes to $13,000. $1, $13. Whichever way you want to do the math. The idea is over 30 years of investing on the ASX, doing nothing. There was no buying and selling. There was one purchase 30 years ago, and see what you got now. That's all there was. That's all that happened. 13 times your money by investing. Now, I can't promise you that's what the future is going to bring. And again, some of you are plenty away from starting to invest. That's cool too. As I said, this is about the money, not about the investing bit. But I want to show you, I want to share with you the awesome power of compounding, because there's going to be a lot of people watching now who are thinking, yeah, it's fine for you to say, Phillips, you're in your suit jacket and, you got your job and all that sort of stuff. What about me? I will absolutely tell you that if you can find a way, and we'll talk about some of the ways to do this, to find a way to put some money aside regularly, in whatever small amounts, however regularly you can do it, that money can become a snowball. You start with a little bit and you roll it down the hill. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You get the idea. And the old proverb, right? Journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I hope that's what these 5 days are going to be about, that single step that gets you moving forward. And what I'm going to say to you as we get through the sessions, by the way, is I'm going to give you some really, really easy ways to get started. And you can start with literally dollars. I will share with you my young bloke. I've got a very small investment account set up for him. He doesn't know this yet. Actually knows about the one I'm talking about, actually. He doesn't know the other one. Don't tell him. There is a stockbroker, and they basically invest, like, it's dollars at a time. I think it might be $2 or $3 at a time, something stupidly small. And so what we get him to do is put some money. So every time he gets some pocket money or money from Nana or Grandma, he puts a couple of dollars of that into this account. You can start with tiny, tiny, tiny amounts of money. I'm not saying you should or you have to. What I'm saying is everybody watching this, if you can save a couple of bucks, you can get started. The other great thing about this, speaking of motivation, is we all know what it's like. I should get a bit fitter. When you get a bit fitter, right, you can run a little bit further. You don't feel quite as bad. You see your progress and you enjoy that part of that process, right? You get motivated by the success you're having. Something really, really nice about being able to see money add up in a bank account, in an investment account, wherever it is, because you can see how that's kind of growing over time. If you start tracking that, it gives you confidence. It gives you a feeling of, I can do this. And that's really, really valuable. Okay. So the other thing I mentioned before was the idea of financial freedom. By the way, we're doing this on YouTube, as you know, because you're watching this on YouTube. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the little question box on the side here. I think that works. If you've got any thoughts, any ideas, any questions, you want to ask anything, please feel free to throw that out and see how we go with that one. So yeah, drop them in the box. I'll be able to see them here while we're chatting. All right, financial freedom. Plenty of people say, what are you investing for? What are you saving for? What's the point? Now, for some of us, it's self-evident, right? Well, of course, it's worth having more rather than less. That would always be positive. And for enough people, that's probably okay. Just a little bit more each time is enough because you're getting a bit further ahead, and that can be its own goal. As I said, the idea of putting one foot in front of the other, generating some value as you move forward. For other people, they actually want to have a goal. Some people need a goal, right? I've got to do this. I will, again, talk about myself for a second. I hiked the Kokoda Trail 5.5 years ago. And I was not in great shape when I decided to do that. There is something about knowing you're going to spend 8 days walking up and down mountains in Papua New Guinea that give you a nice little incentive to make sure by the time you get there, you're fit enough to go. And for me, that was more useful than saying I just should get fit because I need to get fit. Now, again, for other people, they can do it, and hats off to them. I can't. Having that objective, having that, and frankly, it's a pretty dire one, right? Because if I didn't get fit, I was going to really struggle. But that end goal was really important for me. So whichever personality you are, there's something in this for you. Here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to think now about what it is that you want to strive for financially. If I said to you, why do you want more money? Now, on one hand, it's kind of an obvious answer, but I want you to actually think about that question. Think about for you specifically, why do you want more money? For me, the answer is financial freedom. I'm really, really lucky. I've got a job I love. I do this, well, don't tell the boss, but I probably do this for less money. But here's the thing. If I ever got annoyed with the boss ever got annoyed with me and said, Phillips, your time's up, to know that I don't have to work at some future point because I've got enough money saved up, invested, that I can effectively afford to not work if I don't want to, or if I can't work. That for me is what financial freedom is about. Being able to make those life choices. I don't want a fancy car, frankly. I drive a Hilux, right? I don't need first class holidays. I want to know that for me, I can, whenever I want to, at some point in the future, not yet, stop working and say, I can pay my bills with the money from my investing. Now, for you, it might be, that's a bit nebulous for some people, right? It might be a car. You've got to upgrade the car, new car, used car, whatever. Please buy used, don't buy new. Sorry to the car dealers, but the depreciation will kill you off the lot. So whether it's a car, whether it's a holiday, maybe it's retirement. Probably for most people, it's retirement. For some of you, by the way, it's just getting out of debt. It's just being so sick of having that debt. As a millstone around your neck, you just want to get out of that debt and move forward. For some of you, that's what you're aiming for, and that's what's going to motivate you. And think about, I've heard about this, people say there's vision boards, right? You put up on a board somewhere what you're looking for. Again, if that's you, go for it. The great thing about this is I can give you the tools. You work out for you how it applies to your life. What is going to get you motivated? Now, tomorrow, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about some of the boring stuff. But if you don't get through that, you can't get to the other end. So if I was in marketing, I wouldn't say boring stuff. I'd say really vital stuff or important stuff. What I'm going to say is these are the things that if you do them, put you in a position where you can start to move your finances forward. And I've been banging on for years about people getting a better rate on their mortgage. Let me share something with you. There's probably, I don't know, upward of 200 mortgage products out there, I would presume, between the different number of banks, number of packages they've got, all the stuff you can do. Maybe it's 100, whatever the number is. The chance that you, if you have a mortgage, have the best mortgage product for you is probably around that, about 1 in 100, right? Because unless you've investigated them all, there's a chance one of them's got lower fees or a lower interest rate or whatever it is that you want for you based on your personal circumstances. Why don't you have that one? Why don't I have that one? Because humans tend not to do the hard thing. When you do it, by the way, like everything. You look and go, that wasn't that hard, was it? And then I got in front of it and I got some satisfaction from doing it and I saved some money. That's what the value is. Think about, again, we'll talk about some of this, car insurance, health insurance, telephone, water, gas, electricity. When's the last time you compared providers? Again, is it fun? No. Is it really profitable if you save some money? Yeah. Easiest money you'll ever make. So that's important. Think about what it is you want to achieve, because that gives you the motivation to then go and do those things you need to do to get to that point. It's obvious, right? I know it sounds obvious, feels obvious to say, but so many of us don't do it because we don't make ourselves really confront the issue and ask ourselves, what do we want from our money? How are we going to get there? But when you do, again, think of something you've accomplished in your life. This is all psychology, by the way, and you know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But we know the power of this sort of stuff. And it doesn't have to be a surprise. I don't have to hoodwink you. I'm not trying to, make up stuff or lead you blindly down a path. I'm saying to you, this doesn't need to come as a surprise. We know the power of this, right? You know what happens if you make the effort, if you have a go, if you generate the actions that you need to take to make a big difference. That's where it's at. So in terms of what I want you to do around the next 4 days, so the rest of today and the 4 days after that, I want you to grab a pen and paper when you come back tomorrow. I want to see that because I'm going to talk you through some very specific actions I want you to take. I want you to write down. I want you to tick them off. Why? Because they need to be done. But second, again, remember the power of psychology. What is better than a ticked off to-do list, right? How much better do you feel having done those things? You've got to get that momentum. Journey of 1,000 miles, the snowball. Choose your favorite metaphor. Taking in action, moving forward, doing the things that need to be done. That's where the power is. That's what I need you to start doing. I'm also not going to help you get rich quick. I'm sorry if that's why you're watching. If the viewer numbers drop off, that'll be exactly why. This is not a get rich quick program. I can't even promise you to get rich necessarily if you haven't got enough money to put aside, or you don't do it for long enough, or you don't stick with the program. What I can tell you is I talked about that 10 grand to 130 grand, right? Again, pick whatever number works for you, 1 grand, 5 grand, $100, whatever it is, multiply it by 13. Now, again, I can't promise you what the future's going to hold because I'm not allowed to do that. What I'm saying is 30 years ago, if we'd had this conversation on whatever came before YouTube, and I'd said, do this thing, and you said, 30 years feels like a long time. I'm not sure if I get around to it. Is it really worth it? But you had $10, $100, $1,000 in the back pocket. And you could have come back to me today and said, Scott, you know what? You were right. I managed to earn 13 times my money for doing literally nothing other than leaving it alone. Would that have been worth it? Of course it would have. Looking from now, add 30 years to today's date, if you want to scare yourself, 2054 feels like too long away, doesn't it? But again, with the person who's watching this today, if you are over 30, maybe you're not. If you're not, then I'm very jealous of you. But if you're thinking about now, going back 30 years, say, what would I give to have 30 years ago made these decisions? I'm a gentleman of a certain age. All I can say is 30 years ago, here's the other thing. I knew this stuff. I had a great maths teacher in year 9, I think he was, Mr. Moyer. Wonderful bloke. Great maths teacher. Taught us about compound interest. And light bulb went off. I should do that. So you know what I did? Nothing. Why? I had the information, I didn't have the motivation. And that's the bit that I want to, again, make sure you get the point of. Aesop is right. It's the tortoise and the hare. Again, if that sounds boring, I'm sorry. It's true. It just is what it is. So you've got a choice. Here's the thing about it being boring. You've got a choice right now. You can do your future self a favor and start right now. You can do that. Or you can say, oh, no, reason X, Y, Z, excuse 1, 2, 3. I couldn't possibly. Can't do it now. I'll have to do it later. And then ask yourself in 30 years' time, what are you going to look back on? In February 2024, we'll finish in March, February 2024, and say, what should I have done back then? What was possible to be done? For all the excuses we might make, will your future self be happy to say, oh, no, look, it was a bit hard back then. I don't mind that I didn't start. That's not a problem. Ask yourself if you started 30 years ago today, your money would have gone from 10 to 130 odd thousand. It's a bit more, by the way, 138,000, I think it is. 10 to 130 grand. What would you have done to make $120,000 in the skyrocket? I think you would have done quite a bit. I would have done quite a bit. And again, I kick myself for being so silly when I was 18 and 28 and 38, not doing more of these things so that at some future point I'll have the benefit. Now I caught up. So again, the other thing I want to say is it's absolutely doable. These are not hypothetical ideas. saving regularly, doing the things that need to be done, getting yourself ahead, taking control of your financial life is possible, and you can do it successfully, and you can be very, very well off as a result. Again, I'm not going to tell you what numbers you can achieve, only you know those things. We will, by the way, also this week go through some excuses. There will be a tough love session, probably, maybe tomorrow, I think. We might talk about some of those things. Suffice it to say that some of the things that we take for granted or assume can't be changed, if nothing changes, right? But if you take some actions, you can really change the circumstances that you find yourselves in. That's really important. So I want to go through a couple of thoughts you may have as to why this isn't right for you, or at least not right for you right now. I've already mentioned at the very, very top, there are some of you who will be watching this and literally not in a position to save any money at all. And I get it, right? This is not me. There's no judgment here. I'm here to help, right? I'm not here to tell you you've done the wrong thing. I'm not here to browbeat you. There's plenty of people watching who are like, oh man, I get it, but I just can't. And if that's genuinely you, I say genuinely, I'll get back to that tomorrow, then that's okay. I hope this is information, excuse me, that you'll find useful. I hope you can kind of lock it away. I hope it gives you some motivation so that when you get to a point where you can start making a difference, then you'll be in a really good position to start. So there are some people who genuinely aren't earning enough right now to put anything aside at all, and that's okay. I would say 95% of people who are watching right now, though, have options in their lives. And you can choose to put some money away for your future self. You may not want to, it may not be fun. You may not even like the fact that some of the things I may suggest aren't easy to do, literally, but also psychologically, mentally, emotionally easy to do. But again, I want you to think about what you're giving up in the future by not making the right decisions now. Yes, as I said, this is tough love conversation time, guys. I can't make you do it. You have to decide for yourself. But almost everybody watching can save more than they are. Why don't we do it? Because of mental, emotional, financial, psychological hangups. Again, I'm no psychologist, but we can always justify lots of things to ourselves, right? I have to do that because I want to do that because I like that thing, so I want to keep doing it. Cool, that's fine. Just know that there is an implication financially for that for your future. And sometimes you're going to have to make the hard decisions. You have to trade some stuff off here. You can choose not to, that's completely fine. But I figure if you're watching this, you're in a position where you're ready to say, yep, I got this. I want to make a difference for my own. Again, I'm not selling anything, I don't care. I do care, you know what I mean? Nothing in it for me other than hopefully helping you take control of your financial life. Some people say I don't have enough to start. Yeah, this saving thing sounds good, but I've only got $1, $5, $100, $1,000, whatever the number is. Couldn't possibly start with that much. What difference does it make? And again, I'll go back to my snowball analogy. If you've got $500, you can't retire on that money. Even if you invested it today, you can't retire on that. It's not enough. But it's not about the $500, is it? Or the $100 or the $10. Right? You got $10 in the wallet, you're not going to spend? Come, put it in the bank account. I'll tell you, by the way, about some bank account options later in the week. The idea here is when you start a habit. I'm not going to get fit by going for a run tomorrow. But if I do it every day or every second day for a couple of months, guess what? Things are going to change. You're going to have to push through. You're going to have to stay motivated. You have to stay disciplined and commit to it. But if and when you do that, there are huge opportunities ahead of you. You do have, I promise you have enough to start because you start with $1. Start with 10 cents. I don't care what you start with. Make a plan, push ahead, get it done. Come back tomorrow, we'll talk more about it. But I want you to start by saying, by the end of the week, I'm going to put a plan in place so that my future self will look back at me in February 2024 and say, thanks for starting. It worked. Look at the snowball I've built by starting with a little tiny bit of snow, pushing it down a hill. A couple of cents, a couple of dollars, you get the idea. It really, really, really works. It's also a case of complexity for a lot of people. I don't really understand money. How am I supposed to know this thing? What do you mean investing? That feels like too hard. Isn't investing risky? Lots of reasons why it can feel, and genuine reasons, why investing can just feel too hard and too complex. Why saving feels too hard and too complex. How do you get better at your home life? I don't know how to do that. We'll help you with that. We're going to do that this week. I want you to think about the opportunities you've got and ask yourself whether, if you could get to the other side of it, would it be worth it? In almost every single case, the answer is yes. So much easier to imagine, by the way, particularly this day and age. Whether it's getting a better rate, whether it's opening a high interest bank account, whether it's whatever it is, the technology we have at our fingertips is phenomenal. And the opportunity you've got to take advantage of those things and get that process started, super, super, super valuable. I want you to think about that. So we're getting to the end of our time together, and I want to kind of set you up for tomorrow. Excuse me. Question from Hassan. I'll get to that in a sec, bud. Thank you, though. It's live, Hassan, so thank you. This is going to be, I hope, a real opportunity for plenty of people to do those things they need to do to make a real difference in their financial lives. But it's going to be all about you. So before this time tomorrow, I want you to make a decision. I want you to decide to commit to the next 4 days and to making the changes you need to make for your financial future. Come tomorrow ready to do those things you need to do. I'll give you a list of them tomorrow. We're going to go through them in detail. And then I want you to go away and do them. Now, again, think about the psychological power. There's a thing called commitment bias, right? Once you've made a commitment, or pre-commitment bias, sorry. Once you've made a commitment, you follow it through because you've already made the commitment. So I want you to commit to yourself right now. Don't talk to me because I'm just here on the other side of a screen. Commit to yourself right now that you're going to do the things this week to take control of your financial future, to free up some cash, to start on that process towards financial freedom or whatever goal you're pursuing. You need to replace the car? Let's start saving for it. You want to retire? Let's put that in order. You want to get out of debt? I hope you do that as well. But I can only give you the information and the motivation. You've got to take the action. And you need to come ready to do that, because if it's just wallpaper, if you just, I'll get around to it, I really should do that. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll do it if, I'll do it when, I'll do it later. Couldn't possibly do it now, but I'll do it later. Now, these videos will be on YouTube, I think, permanently, so you can come back to them, which is nice. But seriously, I should go for a run tomorrow. But if I don't actually commit to it, I'm probably not going to. So please do the right thing for yourself. Do it for me, do it for you, I don't care. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, do it for your future self. And really, really, really commit to changing your financial life. The journey of 1,000 miles, as I said before, starts with a single step. I need you to do that. Hassan had some questions here. There you go. You've already got a good portfolio by following our advice. Thank you, Hassan. That's very kind. I promise you, well, I hope Hassan's not a plant. Not from me anyway. I'm sure he's not. So you've asked Hassan about stock market crashes and bubbles. I'm not going to brush this one off, but I am not going to answer it now because I kind of don't want to get in that just yet. We will talk a little bit about the power of investing later in the week. And again, I'm not selling anything, right? This is just pure information. And we will talk about investing in stock market crashes and bubbles and all that kind of stuff later in the week. I don't want to kind of get into that yet because there's a lot of assumed knowledge and a lot of information that we can frankly will cover. But I don't want to start down that path because it'll just confuse people from the start. So what I will say, by the way, I've lived through lots of market ups and downs, and these things happen. And the markets, if not today, have very recently been at all-time highs. So it tells you something. But other than that, I'll leave it alone. All right, we've gone for 28 minutes. That's it from me, fools. Thank you for spending some time with us, whether you're doing it live, whether you're watching this later. I hope you all come back tomorrow live at 12:30 tomorrow. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff. Let me give you a quick, I'm going to change my screen here. All right, I'm going to give you some very specific tips and tricks tomorrow on how to get your financial affairs in order. That is, break it all down to its component parts, put it all in one spot and go, right, here's what I need to do in each of these areas. Because by the way, we talked about having not enough money to invest. What if I can help you free up some cash? Yeah, you could buy another coffee, you could buy another suit or something, buy another, whatever thing you're excited about, another beer. But rather than that, what if you could take those savings and then start to use those as a little acorn that becomes the oak tree of your financial future? So there you go. Maybe you don't think you've got enough money now. Maybe tomorrow we can help you free up some cash. And if you can, then I reckon after that, I can help you build it into something that your future self will be very, very, very thankful for. Okay, that's it. Thank you for spending half an hour with me. I very much appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Check your inbox. If you're watching this and you're RSVP'd, you'll get an email tomorrow with the information so you can jump straight in. If you've got friends and family who haven't seen this but you think they might benefit from it, you've got a sense of the vibe of what I'm going to do this week. So if you think it's worthwhile, please let them know as well. For their sake, again, I don't get anything out of it. but I want to help as many people as we can. You can help me do that. If this has been useful, if this has been motivating, if this has been interesting, if you feel like maybe, you know what, now's the time for you or maybe your family and friends, then let them know as well. Until tomorrow, as we say at the Motley Fool, Fool on.